Welcome to Endgame Finance. Today, guys, we're talking about Rivian again. Rivian has earnings coming next week, so it's going to be a lot of information coming up. However, I want to recap what's been happening with Rivian up to now. There's been a lot of new exciting news from Rivian, a lot of new developments. First, really big thing we see here is Rivian has the highest satisfaction score out of any other vehicle. That's right. So 86% of Rivian owners say they would purchase the vehicle again if they had the chance. And this is not the case with anyone else. So people are really loving their Rivians. They're really loving this car. They're loving the adventurous aspect of this vehicle. So this is really positive, especially since this brand is fairly new. Their inception was only a few years ago. So it's very mind-blowing that people actually love this product so much. And this really hypes it up for R2, their upcoming vehicle. So speaking of R2, the upcoming platform, get ready because Rivian will start accepting reservations on March 7th. So the much awaited R2 series, which might be called R2S or R2C, where C indicates a crossover SUV, is debuting in about 3 weeks. So in about 3 weeks, they will open the reservations. One thing I want to mention is the Cybertruck has been out for a while now, and I don't really see the Cybertruck as competition to the R1 platform just because they're such vastly different vehicles. If anything, I really see Cybertruck as a sort of a military vehicle. I see Tesla getting a contract from the military, and Elon Musk is already pretty deep in connections with Pentagon and the military. So I see this as a natural progression where Cybertruck is bulletproof. So if you add bulletproof windows to the vehicle, you have a full bulletproof massive truck. So I think the military will want this thing, especially if they're in some harsher climates like deserts or snowfield. And making it already bulletproof saves the military a lot of configuration, a lot of money. They just slap on the bulletproof windows and you're good to go. I will note, however, if you do decide to put bulletproof windows on your Cybertruck, you will not be able to open them. So bulletproof windows cannot be opened. Once they're modified, they're there to stay. Let's shift back to R2. So R2 will be a two-row SUV. It will start between $40,000 and $60,000. So Rivian is really hitting it on pricing. So they will have pricing range for their products anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000 plus. So everyone in between that price range will have a chance to purchase a vehicle. They're still missing a lower segment vehicle that's around 25,000. I don't know if Rivian will ever do that. However, they're offering vehicles now, or at least pretty soon, at 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Basically, at all price points, you'll be able to purchase a Rivian. So their portfolio of vehicles is getting very diversified, and that's a very important. Rivian is also heavily suggesting that the upcoming R2 vehicle is for everyone. It doesn't appeal only to well-off buyers, so these wealthy guys that have been purchasing R1. And basically, it's not even for the zero emission folk. This is a vehicle for the mass market. This is a vehicle for everyone. Anyone that wants an EV, anyone that wants an adventurous vehicle, that wants a day-to-day vehicle, that wants a vehicle taken to work. This is practical, this is affordable, and this is going to be a very fun truck. Another interesting article I read last week from Seeking Alpha is from Juxtaposed Ideas. And I just want to go over this real quick. Basically, Rivian's fourth quarter 23 production delivery gap has been grossly misunderstood. I've talked about this a lot because Amazon delays intake during peak holiday season. So during Christmas, basically Amazon did not take that many or any trucks from Rivian. They're still buying up to 100,000 trucks, vans. However, during the peak holiday season, Amazon does not take in any vehicles. So Rivian numbers looked kind of small for the last quarter, even though it was a blowout. But this was one of the main things that Rivian actually said that will impact the quarter four. However, media has pretty much ignored this and just kept yelling there's no demand for EVs. Another really interesting point from this article is that peaking observed in the PPI automotive industry may also contribute to improved gross margins over the next few years. So what basically this means is interest rates are going to start coming down, and as interest rates start to fall, people have a lot more money to buy vehicles. This is the same reason Tesla has been discounting their cars, just because interest rate has been so high. it actually offsets some of the purchasing power from buyers. So as interest rates starts to come down slowly, these buyers have more purchasing power and they buy more vehicles. So Rivian margins will increase significantly as interest rates start to come down, and interest rates will come down this year. This is an election year, and that's not even the only reason. The main reason is the United States has so much debt, and if they keep financing at this rate, this country is looking at gloomy times. Some people are even saying economic collapse. I don't really see that. However, I do see an extremely harsh recession if they keep these high interest rates, mostly because people might start losing confidence in the United States' ability to pay back their debts just because their debts are financed at such huge rates. So further from this article, we see, assuming that Rivian is able to sustain its high growth rate and premium price to sale valuations, we may see the stock more than double from these depressed levels. I 100% agree with this statement. So we will most likely see Rivian just double or triple in price once people realize that this company is actually performing well in all cylinders. Top line expectations may also outperform as more Tesla drivers consider Rivian R1S and R1T to be alternative EV models. So basically, no one besides Rivian and Tesla is really in this game. We have GM and Ford pushing out some EVs, but they're not really serious about it. And we had these other companies like Fisker, Lucid, Ocean, whatever. Basically, those guys will probably be bankrupt and it doesn't really pay off to buy their vehicles because you will not be able to service them in the future. And because Rivian has this staying power, they will most likely be the vehicle that Tesla drivers choose next, just because they're confident in this company that this company will not only prosper in the future, but also develop their own EV network of chargers, their own software stack that will continuously improve the vehicle. So it's very possible that many Tesla drivers are shifting and will shift en masse in huge numbers to R2 platform, because R2 platform is the only vehicle that's really comparable to Model Y and Model 3. At least they're in the same price range and a very similar category. On the other hand, Ford has committed to reducing their F-150 Lightning production from the planned capacity of 3.2 thousand vehicles to 1.6 vehicles each week. So they've halved their production of EVs, or at least the F-150 Lightning. So this does not actually mean there's no demand for this car. It basically means that Ford is losing so much money on each sale that it's not profitable for them to keep making it such high volumes because it's impacting their bottom line. This is especially tricky for Ford because their regular gas-powered trucks are still selling very well. I think they're still the best-selling truck in the United States. So it doesn't really make sense for them to have this product that's perfect, that's selling constantly, and to try and replace it. It doesn't make sense. Why would you replace a winning product, a product that your entire company pretty much depends on? So we see a bit of trickery here from the media as well, and these companies that cannot produce EVs profitably. Just because you cannot make a vehicle at a profit, but you can still sell it, that does not mean there's a slowdown in demand. It just means you're not producing as much as you could. And the media is just basically hammering down all these EV stocks. They're extremely negative. The reason I think media is so negative about EVs is because EVs don't really require advertising. You haven't really seen that many commercials of Tesla or Rivian. However, in contrast, if you watch a basketball game or any sporting event, you will be bombarded by traditional gas-powered vehicle manufacturers like Ford, GM, Nissan. Basically, all these guys are pouring in billions of dollars in advertising, and the media really likes that, and they really don't like that Tesla and Rivian are not doing the same. So assuming that Rivian is able to sustain the robust consumer demand, we may see its EV market share accelerate from current levels as more Tesla drivers consider R1S and R1T to the alternative brands, with 34.1 in popularity rating, double of the F-150 Lightning. So the author is saying Tesla drivers will choose Rivian over Ford just because they like the car a lot better. There's extremely higher satisfactory rating for Rivian as opposed to Ford. After opening up their commercial van order, they had orders from AT&T, and they probably have negotiations ongoing with several other companies just to sell their trucks. And these commercial delivery vans are actually going down in production price just because the lithium spot prices and battery prices are moderating, and they're basically just they've fallen a lot just because production has increased so much. So it's getting cheaper and cheaper to make a Rivian vans, and they're finding more and more customers that actually demand these vans. They actually want them really bad. So Rivian will sell a lot more at cheaper prices. The author or this group has a $40 price target for Rivian based on the consensus of projected revenues of $15 billion in 2026. I 100% agree with this. I think Rivian will hit $15 billion in sales in 2026. They're currently around half that, but you have to consider they're just now scaling their production, and each quarter is basically growing at a 100% clip rate. So I do fully expect Rivian to hit these revenue targets, and I think $40.70 is actually pretty decent price prediction for this company. So that's it, guys. I want to give you a quick update on Rivian, what's been going on, what the sentiment is. Next week, we will have a lot more information once the earnings are released. We might even actually hear about another potential pilot program for Rivian commercial delivery vans. Until then, guys, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share, and we'll talk again once Rivian releases these numbers.